Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be looking at the unknown founding pages from the new Space Marine Codex. There's 2 pages filled with chapters which some surprised me that they're actually on there because I actually thought they actually came from certain chapters. We're just going to go in, we're going to talk about them, we're going to explore about them and just theorize maybe like on their gene lineage, certain things about them, all the cool things really. So let's just jump in and let's get talking. So we're going to start with a chapter that is probably known by a lot of people. These are called the Black Dragons. Now, I initially thought that the Black Dragons were linked to the Salamander chapter, but apparently not. I'm sure I read it somewhere online that they were. These chaps have like some kind of twisted abomination. When I say twisted abominations, they're like I think they grow like bones and stuff out of their arms and stuff like that. They're kind of chaosy, but not chaosy. So anyway, what does it say about the Black Dragons? It's believed that the Black Dragons were created in the so-called Curse founding, but their gene sire is unknown. Rumors about a genetic mutation can cause obsessive blades to protrude from their limbs. Their name appears in battle records fighting alongside other chapters, but their presence is only brief. Only the turmoil of the Great Rift has halted the latest inquisitional investigation into the Black Dragons. So a few things there, as I mentioned, they do sprout like little things out of their arms and stuff like that. Again, when I thought of Black Dragons, I initially thought of salamanders, but apparently not. Dragons, salamanders, I don't know, it just goes together for me. And like, if I see a fist on something, like the first thought I jump to is, hey, these guys are from the Imperial Fist, because fist symbols and stuff like that. But it's actually really, really cool to see that the Great Rift has stopped the Inquisition from like looking into like what they're doing and stuff like that. So maybe they're just saved, and of course, with the Primaris reinforcements coming in now and everything like that, maybe, just maybe, their gene lineage, or sorry, I won't say gene lineage, their actual gene seed maybe what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe calmed in a way where they won't have these mutations and stuff like that. The next chapter we're going to look at is the Mentors. It says here the Mentors chapter have no official progenitor, but it is known that they were created during the 26th founding. The Mentors are distrusting of others and prefer to work alone and unobserved. They are often referred to as the Mentor Legion, and some highly unreliable fragmentary records suggest that the chapter has at times fielded warriors of unnatural size, strength, and fortitude. Now, again with the Mentors, something in the back of my mind is saying Ultramarines. I don't know why. I see like probably like an owl or a bird or like Mentors. Like the word Mentor springs Ultramarine to me. But these chaps like to work alone, it says here. I have no idea what this means. Warriors of unnatural size, strength, and fortitude. Does that mean that they had Primaris before Primaris were a thing? Or they were basically doing gene work on their guys to make their guys bigger, stronger, faster, without the help of like Belisarius Call and stuff like that? Some very, very interesting things to go along with the Mentors. But actually, I think with the Mentors, you don't really see them that much in stories. If I remember correctly, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, they were in the Spears of the Emperor book with Aram Dembski Bowden, with Celestial Lions and the Emperor's Spears, of course, and stuff like that. I'm sure they made an appearance in that novel. Now, the next chapter is quite surprising to me as an Imperial Fist fan, because these chaps are called the Fire Lords. Now, as far as I'm aware, the Fire Lords have always been sons of Rogel Dawn. Even like when I've had my like last wall artwork done, I've actually had Fire Wars included in that, because I've always seen the Fire Lords as the Sons of Dawn. I was actually very, very concerned about painting Fire Lords for the Last War project, because it's a mix of yellow, red, and like orange and stuff like that. And I just thought, oh my god, that is going to be an absolute pain in the ass to actually do. So the Fire Lords, it says here, the Fire Lords favour flamer weapons, preceding their fiery assaults with barrages of incendiary missiles. They hurl themselves at the charred, bewhittled foe, even before the flames have burnt out. Their home world is Mundus Prior, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, a planet far out of the eastern fringe, and they are known for their strange flamecraft they use in chapter rituals, which may find reminiscent of the salamanders. So, well, I'm not saying that text is hinting at the salamanders, but their craft is kind of salamanderer. So maybe there's like a little mix in the water now. Maybe these chaps could come from the Salamanders. Again, we actually do have 4 new official Salamander Successor chapters, which I've already covered in another video, which we found quite hilarious because they seem not very Salamanderish at all, but that's another video. Well, that was another video for another time. But yeah, I'm very, very, very surprised at the Fire Lords. I've always taken them as Sons of Rogal Dawn. I've always looked at them as Sons of Rogal Dawn who preferred flame weapons. So it's a bit of a shocker that they've actually been switched over now to the Unknown Foundings in this new 9th edition book. And moving on, we have the Exorcist chapter. Now, again, initially, when I think of Exorcist, I think of Grey Knights. I'm sure I read somewhere that they were apparently like a successor chapter of the Grey Knights. They had this really, really cool thing that the Exorcists do, is where they're possessed by a demon, and then they force the demon out of them, and that's like a ritual process to actually become a full Marine in the Exorcist chapter, so they can never be tainted by chaos again. I don't know how that works. It's probably some kind of weird Inquisition stuff. So it says here the Exorcists are speculated to have come from the 13th founding. Their primogeniture is known only to the highest ranking members of the Ordo Malleus. So that is bloody big alert singles there, and details for their creation have been placed under inquisitorial seal. The Exorcist has maintained 2 additional scout companies for a total of 12 companies. The Codex Astartes does not favour this action. Their training requires a high influx of recruits in order to ensure the chapter's continuation. That's what I mean by, like, you know, they get possessed by demons. I'm sure like a lot of people actually get killed. So it seems that these chapters under the protection of the Inquisition. I always knew that they were kind of like the inquisitorial lapdogs in a way. They always work closely with them. You can never trust a chapter that works with ties to either the High Lords or the Inquisition, because they're always going to be backstabbing you in favour of them. But for me, it seems like they do have heretical gene seed, I'm going to say. Where that comes from, it's hinted here, it comes from the 13th Legion, but I'm not having that at all. I'm thinking maybe Horus. Would I even say maybe Conrad Kurz? Maybe, no, not Magnus. We'll actually get into Magnus's gene seed in a second, but definitely, I personally think that these chaps come from the traitor side of the gene lineage, so that's why they're protected by the Inquisition, and they're looked after and they're watched by the Ordo Malleus. Ordo Malleus is a massive hint because the Ordo Malleus deal with chaos and stuff like that, for those of you who don't know what the Ordos do. But anyway, let's go on to the next one. And I think we all know these boys, the Bloodravens. Steel Rain brothers, of course. So it says here, the Bloodravens are from an unknown founding and have unknown gene sire. They have operated as a solely fleet-based chapter ever since the loss of their home planet. You can actually play that if you want to do in the games, of course. I think everyone's played the bloody Dawn of War games. Their own records have been expunged, and the ones kept by the Ordo Malleus are sealed. Perhaps because of this, the Bloodravens hunger for knowledge and are particularly obsessed about discovering the truth behind their creation. Now, the rumour is, and the theory craft by the community itself, is that these chaps come from the gene lineage of Magnus. The reason why is because they have a high abundance of psychers in their chapter, just like the Thousand Sons used to have when they were around and they were being loyal and stuff during the Great Crusade. They used to have a high abundance of psychers in theirs. So a lot of people say, hey, that makes sense because the Thousand Sons had it and the Bloodravens had it. There's like bits of links here and there and some stories about, like the Raven being seen by, I think it was Aramin or something like that. So a lot of people have taken that for hints for the Bloodravens. But it's nice to see that the Ordo Malleus are keeping their information sealed. So again, I go back to my previous point. If the Ordo Malleus is involved, I definitely think there's a traitor gene seed lineage involved in that said chapter. And pushing on, we have the Storm Giants. The Storm Giants are actually one of the coolest chapters that I actually do like, so it's nicer that these are mentioned in here. So it says, the Storm Giants have fought in several of the Imperium's greatest and most pivotal wars, not least among them the Third War of Armageddon. They display a heightened physical strength, even for Space Marines, and there is some debate that their gene seed may have mutated. Several Magos Genitors have made requests to study the chapter's gene seed, but the Storm Giants have refused on each occasion. Now, when I first read about the Storm Giants, I initially took them as White Scars. I saw the little lightning bolt on them and I thought, oh, they actually look like White Scars. I'm sure I read somewhere that they were White Scars, but this is like the tricky thing on like the interwebs is like articles made by fans are sometimes edited in certain ways where, you know, it's their opinion and that's what they think, and then you read it and then you think that is a fact and stuff, so it can bloody get confusing when it comes to it. But the one of the coolest things I like about the Storm Giants, as it mentioned in this little briefer text, is that they basically have physical strength that is stronger than normal Space Marines. Their height is a bit bigger, and a lot of people are interested to wonder why they're like that, and people want to get their hands on them to do research on them to find out why. And they're like, no, you're not even touching us. Stay away. We do what we do, and we look, and we are as strong as we are. Be gone, everyone else. And the next chapter, again, is another surprise for me as an Imperial Fist fanboy. This actually happened in the 8th edition, but they put them on this page as well. The White Templars. The White Templars, up to 8th edition, were an official successor chapter of the Imperial Fist. He actually states here, hailing from the world of Sanctum, the White Templars are stoic and relentless in their persecution of the foe, though for a time it was thought that they were Imperial Fist successors. Recent discoveries by the Administratum Genitoria Lodge have thrown substantial doubt upon this claim. The White Templars have been shaken by this revelation and have launched a star-spanning crusade to discover the truth. So again, as a Son of Dawn, that is a big blow for me because I absolutely love the look of the White Templars. Well, when I say the Templars, everyone is bloody called a Templar in the Sons of Dawn. You know, you have Black Templars, you have Red Templars, and of course you used to have White Templars. It wouldn't surprise me if we had bloody green, yellow, indigo, purple Templars, because just throw Templar on any bloody colour and it sounds cool. But it's really, really interesting now who these chaps could belong to. I'm going to say a Loyalist chapter. In my opinion, because again, there's no Ordo Malleus involved, as I, harken back to that comment I made before. Maybe, you know what? I think Corax could be pretty cool because there's actually no cool chapters that belong to Corax. I know I'm going to get so many Raven Guard players, screaming at me in the comment section. But yeah, maybe Corax. Maybe someone else like Vulcan. Well, I say Vulcan. We've already had some Salamander chapters, haven't we? Templars are a word now when it goes along with Ultramarines, because we have the Silver Templars because they're trying to be the Sons of Dawn as they always do. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a really, really interesting one. I used to love these guys being Sons of Dawn, but hey, you can't argue when you get tested and you're not a Son of Dawn, so what are you supposed to do? The next one is really interesting, the Dragon Lords, because it says here, all contact was lost with the Dragon Lords even before the emergence of the Great Rift. By immense and costly efforts, a Torchbearer task force discovered them fighting still, having nearly annihilated by the successor Hurid invasions. I absolutely love the Hurid. Please, GW, if you're going to do another race on the tabletop, please do the Hurid. That reduced their fortress monastery to dust. The Dragon Lords vowed to rebuild and have been reinforced by their Primaris brethren. They now wage war anew in the Imperium Niflus. Now, if you look in the background, if you look at their colour scheme and the way they look, I would completely say these chaps are salamanders. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about that these are salamanders. They've got the flames, they've got the dragons. It's only the chapter symbol that's different. If you take that chapter symbol away, I would actually say, hey, look, it's a salamander on the battlefield. So I'm going to say just salamanders with that, just going off the way their armor looks. I know that's probably the wrong thing to go off, but if it looks like a salamander, then it probably is a salamander. Next up is the Brazen Scores, and if that name rings a bell, it should, because of the Sabbath Crusades and stuff like that. So it actually says here, Brazen Scores, all the Brazen Scores are known to have been destroyed during the Sabbath World Crusades. Their name, colours and heraldry were reinstated during the Ultima founding, and thus their number are Primaris Space Marines. So this is an entire chapter of Primaris only. The Brazen Scores are determined to live up to their honour of their forebearers and have swiftly earned a reputation for heroism, tenacity, and all-consuming hatred for the forces of chaos. So that's actually a pretty cool thing, and this is what we're actually seeing now more and more with the Primaris Marines, is that chapters are actually being brought back to life. You have the Brazen Skulls here. I know another one that's upcoming is the Soul Drinkers. Remember what happened with the Soul Drinker storyline? Dun, 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 Spider-Man. Those chapters are being brought back to life now as Primaris Marines. So it is going to be interesting now where we see chapters in the future, because as I'm doing with some of my last war stuff, like the Astral Knights, I'm bringing them back as, completely reinforced by Primaris. So chapters that you fought that were long dead, that died in like honor and stuff, will now come back, like Shadow Wolves, for example. That's another chapter that can make a pretty cool appearance. Now, this next chapter is called the Tigers Argent. Now, for me, I don't think I've ever heard of these chaps before. I wonder if this is like a new chapter that GW have slotted in. Like, they've always been there, but we've just made a brand new one. So, just for the rule of cool and stuff like that. So it says, with their homeworld close to the Great Rift, as well as the Pry Nexus, the Tigers Argent are extremely hard-pressed. Their battle strike forces have repulsed incursion after incursion pouring from the Citatrix Maledictum and have yet to be bested. Icefang, their homeworld, has become a beacon of hope, drawing all manner of refugees and scattered Imperial forces seeking sanctuary. That's a pretty cool thing then. So it's like a little beacon of hope in the middle of like probably like an awful place, like it says, like the Great Rift, and like where all the Necrons are popping up from, like the Pry Nexus and stuff. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Again, please, if anyone knows like a story that these chaps are involved in, or anything, please post it down below. I'd like to actually learn more of these, because it seems like they are a pretty nice chapter. When it goes with the gene lineage, I know it doesn't mention it here. I'm probably gonna say Jagatai Khan. I don't know why. I see tigers and I think of like Asia and that kind of influence and stuff. So I'm just going to go with the Kargan on that one. Another fan favourite that appears on the page are the Red Scorpions. So it says here, the fleet-based crusaders of the Red Scorpions believe in the Emperor's divinity without question and are staunch followers of the Codex Astartes, which they see as a holy writ. Fanatical in their pursuits of purity, their gene seed sanctity is essential to their core beliefs. As a result, they have more apothecaries than most chapters, and their Masters of the Apothecarian is second in command of the whole chapter. Now, fun theory, when I read about the Red Scorpions, for some reason in the back of my mind, again, I thought they were Ultramarines, but I've been speaking to people and it's unknown who they are, and a lot of people are theorizing that they actually come from a traitor gene seed. A legion that was thrown out was actually World Eaters. I was like, oh, World Eaters, really? It would be kind of funny, if they're like fully dedicated to the Emperor, to see the Emperor as a god, when their gene father is basically like the devil and stuff. So that could be a nice little twist of the knife into their purity if they ever learn that. It seems we're saving all the cool chapters for last, because the next ones are the Carcaradons, aka the Space Sharks. So it says, the mysterious prowlers of the Outer Dark, the Carcaradons are ever on the move, seeking out the Emperor's foes beyond the Imperium's borders. Few have ever fought alongside them. Those who have report of them unsettling savagery, their preference for rapid strikes using stealth or extreme speed, and their deadly skill in close quarters actions using range of bayonets, blades, chain weapons, and point-blank weapon fire. Now, again, there's a few theories when it comes to the Carcaradons. A lot of people have said, hey, these chaps were Night Lords. They come from the Night Lord gene lineage and stuff. A lot of people have said they come from the Raven Guard lineage. There's a few people out there that say they're a mixed gene lineage. It's both the Raven Guard and the Night Lords, and it's just, let's just swap gene seed in this place and we're all just one big chapter. I absolutely love that these chaps are basically like the far out killers of the Imperium, as it mentions here, like they're out in like the outer edge of the Imperium, just hunting stuff, just like like a shark on the edge of the water, just hunting. Of course, Carcaradon space sharks and stuff. Very, very cool. I love them. They are absolutely brutal when it comes to melee combat. I know they actually fought against one of my favorite chapters, the Executioners, during what's it called, the Badab Wars and stuff like that, and there was like a big battle on a space station, and like when people discovered it, it was just littered with space sharks and just executioners in the most brutal melee combat that you've ever seen, because both chapters are absolutely, insane when it comes to stuff. So yeah, it's nice that these chaps get a lot of mention in here, and I love the theories around if they're either Gene Seed or Night Lords, or a mix of both when it comes to their gene lineage. And finally, we have the Minotaurs. A little bit of controversy around the Minotaurs. So it says here, the Minotaurs' history beyond 1,000 years ago has been deliberately concealed by edicts that even Inquisitors cannot circumvent with ease. In battle, they are possessed of a berserk fury and are willing to sustain heavy losses to ensure victory. How they are able to maintain a war of machinery to replace the losses of another Mistra. More than one Imperial agent has been found dead whilst researching such subjects. Now, when it comes to the Minotaurs, there's a whole chest of secrets and theories with these chaps. So the first one is that they only work, well, they actually do only work for the High Lords of Terror. They're basically, as I like to call them, the lapdogs of the High Lords of Terror. Don't you at me, bloody Minotaurs players. You know, you have to follow the Emperor or no one. That's how it goes in my bloody world. Secondly, who do they belong to when it comes to their gene lineage? Now, there's a few theories out there. One was Wood Eaters, but I'm going to go with the Iron Warriors, because the chap who initially wrote these, his plans were to have them actually as Iron Warriors. He actually wrote that online. You know, the guy who actually made the chapter for the, was it Imperial Armor books? I think these chapters were actually made for the Badab War as well, if I'm not mistaken. Again, please correct me if I'm wrong. But that author, he's actually stated online, if you actually search like author and Google of Minotaurs, you can actually see one of these posts he made where he mentions that he actually had these planned as Iron Warriors. So that maybe that's why their gene seed is hid from the Inquisitors, because the High Lords have basically got some trait gene seed and more or less made a chapter for themselves to use as their own means. Anyway, that is me done for another video. I want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'd love to get your thoughts and feedback on this. Please theorise on what chapters belong to what gene lineage. Do you think that they belong to someone else, or there's a mix of gene seed? I don't know. Just tell me your wildest and most, you know, crazy thoughts in the comment section, and we can have a nice little talk down there, as we always bloody do. Anyway, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching once again. See you now. Have a great day, and bye-bye.